Heartwarming discovery. Billionaire exposes incredible dance that changes his paralyzed daughter. Billy Carter stood at the crossroads of wealth and despair, a self-made billionaire facing the most daunting challenge of his life, not the stock market or a hostile takeover, but the heart of his own family. It had been 2 years since the car accident that left his daughter, Lily, paralyzed, and even with his expansive riches, he felt helpless. Golden trinkets and lavish vacations had failed to bridge the chasm between them, each attempt only highlighting their emotional distance. As he paced through his sprawling mansion, his heart ached for the little girl who used to twirl on his toes, full of laughter and dreams. The silence was deafening, and he was determined to find a way back to her. In desperation, he decided to revisit the small community dance studio where he had learned to express himself as a child. The memory was vivid, the scent of polished wood and the cheerful clang of laughter reverberated in his mind. Walking through the doors, Billy was enveloped by warmth and the nostalgia of simpler times. Children swirled and leaped, their joy palpable. But here, in this sanctuary of movement, he hoped to find something that had eluded him, a way to connect with Lily again. As weeks went by, he urged her to join him. At first, she resisted, feeling trapped in her own body, but Billy's persistent love and encouragement eventually peeled away her reluctance. Under the guidance of Mrs. Simmons, the local instructor, Lily began to explore the flow of dance. The studio transformed from a simple space to a haven bubbling with renewed hope. With each lesson, Billy watched in awe as the frustration tightened around Lily's heart began to unravel. Her spirit soared as she learned to sway in rhythm, bits of her spark lighting up the room. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Billy found himself drawn into her dance, rediscovering the carefree joy that had once defined his life. The laughter they shared echoed through the walls of the studio, quieting the darkest corners of their hearts. But as Lily blossomed, Billy realized they couldn't ignore the heaviness still lodged between them. The climax of their journey came during the annual community dance competition, a night that brimmed with excitement and nerves. As the lights dimmed and the audience hushed, Lily wheeled onto the stage. The world slowed down, and Billy held his breath. What radiated from her was an unwavering spirit. When the music flooded the air, she moved, her confidence illuminating the dance floor. The crowd erupted, enthralled by her performance, and the moment exploded into a symphony of hope and resilience. Yet, as the curtain began to close on their miraculous night, Billy felt a nagging tension arise. They had reached a pivotal moment fraught with the need for honesty, fresh wounds needing fresh air. Would they seize this chance to confront their past, or slip back into the silence that had haunted them for so long? As cheers filled the room and tears of joy streamed down faces, they stood at the brink, two hearts tangled in shared pain, waiting for the music to fade, and the conversation to begin. As the echoes of applause lingered in the air, Billy felt a swirl of emotions course through him: pride, relief, and an overwhelming desire for connection. He looked at Lily, beaming with joy, her cheeks flushed and eyes sparkling like the stars they used to gaze at together. The distortion of silence loomed, yet he could see an opening. A space magically created by their shared triumph. "Lily," he began, his voice thick with emotion. "That was incredible. You were amazing out there." He felt the heat of vulnerability creep into his chest. This was the moment. "We need to talk now." Lily's brow furrowed. A flicker of apprehension danced across her face, but she nodded slowly. They made their way off the stage, the raucous cheers fading as they stepped into the quieter corridor backstage. The lights dimmed further, giving them a sense of privacy amidst the chaos. "What did you want to say?" Her tone was cautious, yet there was an eagerness to understand. Billy inhaled deeply, feeling as if he were preparing to dive into a deep sea of emotions. "I know these past couple of years have been rough on both of us. You've had to carry a burden that no kid should have to bear. He fought the lump in his throat as he continued. I thought I could buy my way back into your life, but I realize now. It's not about money, it's about connection. Tears brimmed in Lily's eyes. I've missed you, Dad, she managed, her voice barely above a whisper. But I felt I lost you when I lost my legs. It's hard to see you try so hard, but I'm scared. Scared that you'll leave again once you see this, she gestured to her wheelchair, this isn't who I used to be. No! You are still Lily, my vibrant daughter. You're strong, and that dance tonight proved it. He stepped closer, kneeling beside her. I want to rebuild. We can do this together. I promise I'm not going anywhere. As the words tumbled out, the anguish they had both held for so long seemed to intertwine. Lily's defenses began to crack, and in that pivotal moment, her emotions poured out like a summer storm, raw, powerful, and cathartic. I want to dance for you. But I'm afraid that if I can't walk, what good am I? You're a million times more than just how you move, Billy implored, grasping her hands. You are fierce, intelligent, and beautiful in every single way. You've shown me what strength truly means. In that dimly lit space, as tears flowed freely from both of them, the walls of unspoken truths and unresolved pain began to crumble. Laughter and applause were replaced by shared heartbeats, theirs blending into a single rhythm of healing. But just as they began to breathe easier amidst their breakthrough, a chilling message arrived on Billy's phone. It lit up the dark, the words stark and precise. His legal team was invoking the next step in his ongoing battle over a possible takeover of his company. The tension snapped back, flaring anew like a bright flame ready to consume. Dad? What's wrong? Lily's brow knitted in concern, sensing his shift. The weight of looming responsibility bore down on him once again. He could feel the invitation slip from his grasp. It's something I need to handle, he said, fighting to keep the panic from showing. But deep down, fear clawed at his stomach. Didn't he want to slip back into the guy too focused on the world outside? As he caught her anxious gaze, a new question formed between them. Could he manage both the demands of the outside world and the fragile healing between father and daughter? Would they escape the repeated cycles of heartache and miscommunication? He could only muster, Lily, promise me we'll keep this connection strong. You mean everything to me. But as they shared this emotional moment, the unknowns of the future loomed larger. The uncertainty of what lay ahead was palpable, and the darker shadows of necessity cast a pall over the light they had just ignited. Could Billy balance both the chaos of his business life and the tender moments with his daughter, or would old patterns resurface, fracturing their new bond before it even had time to take root? The air grew heavy with unanswered questions as they faced the next chapter of their journey. Billy's heart raced as he stared at the glowing screen. The message felt like a punch to the gut, the brightness contrasting sharply with the dim resolve he'd just built with Lily. He wished he could ignore it, shut it down, or throw the phone across the room. Instead, he took a deep breath, grappling for a way to protect the fragile moment they were sharing. Just work stuff. I'll handle it, he reassured her, trying to muster a smile, but the tension behind his eyes gave away the truth. Lily bit her lip, her worry almost tangible. Dad, if it's important we can talk about it. No, it's nothing. He waved his hand dismissively, but in his gut, he knew this was anything but nothing. The looming threat of losing everything he had spent years building couldn't just fade away. Not when it seemed to collide perfectly with the most important conversation of all, his reconnection with his daughter. Didn't want to let business woes hijack their moment. Can we just focus on us right now? Sure, she replied, but the hesitation in her voice betrayed her. The unease wrapped around them like a tight blanket. He could see her battling her own questions, her thoughts spiraling as she considered what it meant that he was once again distracted by the world outside. Billy swallowed hard. You know, I've been thinking about dance. He wanted to bring the light back, spark joy, and erase the shadows that loom over them. What would it take for you to dance again? Perform more, maybe? Lily's face lit up for a moment, glowing with possibilities. I would need to practice a lot more. I'd need to find the right moves and the right rhythm, she said, her tone buoyed with tentative hope. That's the spirit! Billy exclaimed. He could almost picture it, Lily gliding across the stage, commanding attention, completely absorbed in the music. Let us find a dance studio tomorrow. Or maybe we can try some choreography together? Her eyes sparkled, and he saw the slightest glimmer of the joyful girl he once knew, before everything changed. Really? You'd do that with me? Absolutely. I want to be there for you, he affirmed, feeling a pulse of excitement coursing through them. But before they could fall deeper into their shared dreams, another message buzzed on his phone. Billy's pulse quickened as he ignored it, but it was taking all his strength to push the impending threat from his mind. He had to be fully present, even as competing demands pulled at him from all directions. He clutched Lily's hands tighter, anchoring himself in the moment. I promise, we'll figure it out together. Dance or no dance. Nothing will come between us again. Though her smile was hesitant, it warmed his heart. He could sense that fragile hope blooming into something more solid, even if fears crept back into the edges of their connection. Yet the weight of impending chaos loomed ever close, each tick of the clock reminding him of his responsibilities. Would his dedication to Lily be enough to withstand the storms of business pressures? As he searched for a way to keep the balance, to distinguish between fighting the world and fighting for his family, Lily's expression shifted. Dad, are you afraid? Afraid of what happens next? The question hung in the air, and Billy felt the truth cut through him like a knife. He was terrified. Terrified of losing her again, of not being able to connect and support her through both her journey and his own. Yeah, I really am. But we can't let that fear stop our next steps. That's not an option. As he spoke, conviction bubbled within him, a resolution rising like a tide. But would that be enough to steer them away from uncertainty, or was he blind to the lurking dangers? The distance between his ambitions and their fragile bond tightened once more. How could he ensure that, no matter what happened, he wouldn't let his daughter slip away again? With their hands still clasped, Billy took a breath. I promised to fight for us. But could he fight the bigger battles and win? As if answering his unspoken fears, his phone buzzed again, more insistent this time. Billy hesitated for a moment, staring at it. The balance of hope and uncertainty weighed heavy, forcing a confrontation he knew was unavoidable. What was about to break through that delicate connection? Would he be strong enough to hold on to Lily's faith in him, or would the shadows of his other life pull him away once more? Billy's eyes flicked to the screen again, but this time the vibration felt like a thunderclap. He needed to silence the noise, to focus on his daughter. He forced himself to meet Lily's gaze, her bright eyes probing, seeking trust. Dad, are you really okay? Her voice was soft, laced with concern. The warmth that once surrounded them felt colder, and he could sense the flickering flame of hope struggling to stay alight. Yeah, I am, he said, though it felt like a lie. He wanted to be the dad who could do it all, who could balance everything and still dedicate time to her. But the weight of his responsibilities pressed down, a heavy shroud he couldn't shake off. She squeezed his hands, an anchor amidst the storm. You don't have to pretend with me. You can tell me. Billy sighed, his heart a mix of gratitude and frustration. He'd built a wall around so much of his life, but here she was, wanting him to lower it. How had they gotten to this point where his daughter could see past the facade he wore with others? I'm just dealing with a lot at work, he finally admitted. But I don't want it to affect us. Lily nodded, but he could tell it wasn't enough. She glanced down at the floor, her silence heavy. Let's talk about dance, Billy suggested, desperately grasping for anything that could lighten the mood. What kind of dance is your favorite? Her face lit up again, the spark reigniting as she answered passionately about ballet, jazz, hip-hop, the ways she felt free. As she spoke, he couldn't help but smile, a warmth radiating between them as he watched her hands animate, her eyes illuminate. Yet the phone buzzed again, and this time he didn't ignore it. Grabbing it from his pocket, he glanced at the screen and felt his heart drop. The name of an important client flashed ominously. He cursed under his breath, a wave of dread crashing over him. I have to, can it wait? Lily's voice held a tremor. She was losing him to the outside world again. He could feel her panic rising, mirrored in the tightening in his chest. He exhaled deeply, wanting to say yes, wanting to stay in this moment. I wish it could. But I have to take care of this. Before he could think, he swiped the screen, trying to drown out her disappointment. Hey, it's Billy, he said, trying to sound calm. The voice on the other end was urgent, layers of stress rippling through every word. Billy's brow furrowed as he listened, his worry morphing into a tight knot in his stomach. Lily watched him, every second stretching uncomfortably between them, the tension climbing. She unfolded her arms, creating distance he didn't want but that seemed inevitable. I'll be home soon, I promise, he managed, forcing cheerfulness into his voice, though it felt like a mask slipping from his face. Yet even as he said it, he could feel cracks forming in their connection. As he hung up, he saw her expression falter. What did they want? Just a meeting I have to prep for, he murmured, guilt clawing at him. But I'll finish early. We'll dance, I promise. Will you? Her voice trembled on the edges of hope. He stepped forward, cupping her face with hands that felt too heavy to hold. Yes. Dance time will happen. It's our time. As he spoke, he wished he could transport her into his heart like a promise. But as he watched her nod tentatively, doubt threatened to engulf him. Would he defeat this relentless cycle of distractions? Could he really reclaim the moments that mattered? As they stood there, a moment shimmering like a dream yet to be fulfilled, another message appeared on his phone. His heart pounded. He didn't want to look, but he had to know. What new challenge was waiting, ready to steal this precious time from them? His mind raced as he glanced down at the screen, heart pounding. The weight of the world loomed large. Would he rise to the occasion, or would it all come crashing down? Billy's heart thudded like a drum in his chest as he turned back to Lily, trying to shake off the tight grip of dread. Another notification illuminated the dark screen of his phone, yet it felt as if 1,000 eyes were trained on him, waiting for his decision. It was just work, another day at the office, but in that moment, it felt like the divide grew wider, invisibly separating him from everything he cherished. Dad? Lily's voice broke through the suffocating fog of his thoughts. What's wrong? He forced a smile, attempting to paint over the worry etched on his features. Nothing, kiddo. Just a lot on my plate. You know how it is. She studied him closely, her brow furrowing slightly. You don't have to hide it. I just want you to be happy. Her words sank into him, a lifeboat in a crashing sea. Billy's fingers trembled as he put his phone down. How could he be happy when the wider world kept encroaching on their space? Let's just forget about everything else for a bit, he finally suggested, his voice softening as he reached for her hands. What do you say we go into the living room and show me those dance moves you've been practicing? Her smile returned, and it made everything worth it. Really? Absolutely. As they moved to the living room, the atmosphere shifted. The weight on his shoulders began to lighten, replaced by the warm glow of their shared time. Lily danced with exuberance, her body flowing like water, and he found himself caught in the rhythm. Her passion lit the room, and for those moments, it was just the two of them, no work, no worries, just a father and daughter lost in melody. Billy attempted a few moves that resembled nothing of the grace Lily exhibited. They both laughed, the sound ringing through the space and wrapping around them like a comforting blanket. Each laugh helped to mend the growing cracks in their connection. See, you've got it. Lily giggled after he stumbled on a particularly tricky step. You just have to let go. Let go, he echoed, feeling the truth of that phrase tugging at his heart. It resonated deeper than just dance. His professional life, the crushing expectations, could he let all that go? Or at least, could he set it aside to embrace what truly mattered? In that moment, he caught a glimpse of the unyielding bond they shared. Lily's joy was infectious, a reminder of all the beauty yet to be explored. But as he watched her spin and leap, he felt a sudden wave of dread wash over him again. How could he keep this up? How could he promise her more dance nights when work felt unrelenting? He reached for his phone again, glancing at the screen, and then felt her eyes on him. You're slipping away, she said quietly, almost like a whisper, but it carried the weight of a thunderstruck realization. "I'm right here," he asserted, raising his voice slightly, yet it sounded hollow even to his own ears. "Are you?" Lily challenged, her expression suddenly serious, her innocence cracked by the reality of each day, each hour he paid allegiance to his job instead of her. "Lily, I want to be here for you. I need you to believe me." He could feel the tremor in his own voice matching the uncertainty in her eyes. Tears misted her gaze, yet she blinked them away. "I know, Dad. I want you to dance with me always." Billy felt his heart swell and shatter simultaneously. "We will. I promise. Just forgive me for the moments I miss. I swear I'm trying. Trying isn't enough," she said, her tiny fists clenching. "You've got to want it." Her words echoed painfully in his mind. Wanting was a different battlefield entirely. He could feel the walls closing in again, but within that chaos burned a stubborn ember of determination. As they resumed dancing, his mind whirled with questions. Was it possible to break free from the expected path? Could he really redefine success? But just as hope began to flourish, the phone buzzed again, a harsh reminder of their reality. He hesitated, dread pooling in the pit of his stomach. Would this message tug him back into the whirlpool, or was it another chance to redirect his path? "What was that?" Lily's voice was soft but insistent, her gaze piercing. He swallowed hard, knowing the real answer wasn't a message at all but something he could finally reveal, a choice he had yet to make. But could he dare to choose his family over a world that never stopped demanding more? As silence fell between them, he was faced with the truth. Could he transform his life before it transformed him? The tense quiet lingered, holding its breath for what lay ahead, as he braced for the decision that would determine it all. Billy stood frozen, the phone still buzzing softly in his hand, a lifeline to a world that demanded everything from him. Lily's eyes searched his, and he felt the moment stretch out, heavy with unspoken words. The question loomed larger than life: what path would he choose? "Dad, you're thinking too much again," she said, a hint of annoyance cracking through her innocent tone. "Just be here with me." He dropped the phone onto the couch. "All right, I'm here," he said, forcing a smile that felt both real and strained. He crouched down to meet her gaze, hoping to bridge the distance formed by his worries. "Show me those moves again." With every step she took, every twirl and leap, the room brightened. Her laughter spun around them like laughter in a fairy tale, pushing through the dark maze of his thoughts. "Okay, my turn," he said, copying her silly dance, the over-the-top motions matching her glee. They both tumbled into a heap of giggles, the shared joy creating a bubble where time ceased to exist. It was a joy that melted the dread away, if only for a moment. "Dad, we should enter a dance contest together," she shouted, her eyes wide with excitement. "Maybe we should," he laughed, catching his breath, but then reality crashed back in. "But what about my job? It'll take too much time." "Your job is boring. Dance is fun," she replied, her sincerity shining through. "You have to choose the fun stuff, Dad. Remember the guy in that movie, the one who quit his job to chase a dream?" The mention of the movie struck a nerve. He wanted to be that guy, the one brave enough to leap beyond what society deemed acceptable. But could he really take that jump? What would it mean for them? "Sweetheart, it's not that easy," he said, battling the winds of uncertainty swirling in his mind, each one a reminder of responsibilities that suffocated him. "But it could be," Lily insisted, her small hands catching his face, forcing him to look into her hopeful eyes. "You have to believe that it could be. Promise me we'll have dance parties even when it's tough." Her resolve hit him like a splash of cold water, shocking him into a moment of clarity. The way she believed in their little dance parties so fiercely made him wonder about his own beliefs. Did he believe in himself enough to take action? "Okay. Promise," he said, trying to silence the fears that gripped him, and in that moment, the weight seemed to lift just a little. Suddenly, the phone buzzed again, vibrating with urgency. Billy felt his heart plummet as his instincts kicked in, the wall of obligation rising, reinforced by fleeting visions of missed deadlines and looming consequences. But this time, he didn't reach for it immediately. Dad. Lily's voice was thick with apprehension. You have to decide. Will you really choose us? Choose fun? The silence felt suffocating again. The truth was there, waiting expectantly, daring him to confront it. It clawed at him, demanding recognition. Could he say no to the life that constantly expected his sacrifice? I need a moment, he replied, his voice a mix of dread and anticipation. It was a question burning in him. He could either return to the chaos or step into the unknown. As the phone buzzed again, he could hear his heartbeat. It pulsated with fear and hope. What if he really did choose to embrace the dance, let go of perfection, and follow the melody of his own happiness? Lily watched curiously, her expression a mix of trust and worry. Billy inhaled deeply, knowing this moment would echo into their future. But just as he was about to reach for it, an overwhelming thought struck him. What if his world wasn't meant to revolve around work? Could he find a way to craft a life that was equally about love and joy? He gazed back at Lily, and in her expectant eyes, he saw a future filled with endless possibilities. Now or never, he whispered. As he stood at the precipice of choice, his heart raced with both anxiety and excitement. What path would he choose, and how would it change everything? Could this be the moment everything transformed? Billy's breath hung in the air, thick with the weight of the decision before him. The phone buzzed again, insistent like a reminder of a life he could return to, but his gaze was locked onto Lily's. Her innocent belief was a stark contrast to the chaos that swirled inside him. In that moment, he realized something vital. The real risk wasn't about pursuing a passion. It was about missing out on the joy that already surrounded him. The potential for happiness was right there in front of him, dancing in the living room, her laughter a melody he couldn't ignore. Lily, his voice cracked slightly as he tried to gather his thoughts. Maybe it isn't easy. But what if it's worth it? A smile broke across her face, brightening the dim corners of their cramped living room. Exactly, she said, bouncing on her toes. You have to try, Dad. Let us chase the fun. He hesitated for just a moment longer, the thrill of uncertainty mixing with the terror of change. Then, he dropped the phone onto the cushion and took her hands in his. Okay, let us do it. Let us dance. Her squeal of delight echoed like music filling the room. They jumped up, hands clasped, and began to move in sync. Their dance wasn't perfect. It was clumsy, with bursts of giggles and fumbled steps. But it didn't matter. It was joy incarnate, no choreography, just pure, unfiltered happiness. As they danced, the outside world faded away. The stresses, the job, the obligations, they became whispers drowned out by laughter and the thump of little feet. Billy spun Lily around, her hair flying behind her, and for the first time in what felt like ages, freedom flooded through him. He felt lighter, his heart buoyed by each move they made. What's next, Dad? We should find an audience, Lily exclaimed, breathless from their impromptu session. An audience? Like a crowd? He replied, a twinge of nervousness creeping back in. What do you mean? Yeah. We should perform. She beamed. Let us show everyone how much fun we're having. His spirit jolted at the idea. Could he really? What if people saw them? What if they laughed? But then he saw her, that spark of unrestrained joy lighting up her face. All right, he said, heart racing. We'll perform. But only if we practice, okay? She nodded eagerly, eyes sparkling. Yes. Every day after school. It'll be our secret practice. Billy chuckled, feeling a mix of fear and thrill. What had he just signed up for? But more than anything else, he was committed to being present, even if that meant stepping into the unknown, facing his fears head on. As they twirled again, he caused her to tumble, and they both collapsed in a heap on the floor, laughter erupting around them. In that laughter, he felt something shift. Dad, can we wear costumes? Lily asked, her imagination already running wild. Sure. We can be anything. He paused, inspiration sparking. Let us be the best team ever. She clapped her hands, bouncing with excitement. Yes. The best team. Come on, we have to start now. Still panting from their dance, Billy felt a rush of affection for his daughter and a surge of daring. What if this transformation wasn't just about dance? What if it meant giving Lily the freedom to believe in fantastical possibilities? Alright, let us map this out. You and me a dance team, he said, envisioning their names on posters and perhaps the thrill of performing in front of an audience. But as his heart soared with hopes of what was to come, his phone rang again, slicing through their bubble. Billy hesitated, glancing at the screen. The urgency pulsed through him like a relentless tide, threatening to drag him back. But then he looked at Lily, her eagerness shining brighter than any deadline looming in the shadows. Could he really ignore the call, the world that demanded his return? Feeling torn, he found himself standing between the two paths. The predictable life he'd always known and the freedom ignited by his daughter's laughter. Lily mirrored his uncertainty, sensing the shift. Dad? The question lingered in the air, suspended by the weight of possibility. Would he answer the call that might shape their lives forever? With a deep breath, he made his choice and was about to discover that the most extraordinary journey could start with a single step away from the familiar. The air was electric with anticipation, the room charged with the infectious excitement of a new adventure. As Bill's indecision faded, he felt the pull of hope wrap around him like a warm hug. He turned off his phone, silencing the beckoning world outside, and focused entirely on Lily's radiant face. Okay, let us do this right, he said, planting his feet firmly on the ground as he crouched to her level. What do we need for our performance? His eyes sparkled as he tried to channel her enthusiasm. Lily's eyes lit up. Costumes. And props. Can we have a theme? She began to spin, the idea swirling around her. Like a magical forest. Or superheroes. Billy laughed, imagining the colorful chaos that would unfold. I love it! A magical forest with sparkly fairies and strong knights. Let us write everything down. They scrambled to the kitchen table, Billy grabbing a faded notepad and a crayon from the drawer. Lily, buzzing with energy, began to toss her ideas onto the paper. We need trees. And glitter. And a big castle. Before long, the kitchen was sticky with creativity. Drawings began to morph into characters on the page, each one a representation of the dreams blooming between father and daughter. The more they scribbled, the less the weight of responsibility loomed over Billy. Their world felt expansive, filled with the promise of joy instead of the shackles of duty. Okay, Mr. Knight, what's your grand plan? Lily asked, giggling at the crumpled drawing. I'm thinking our knight will rescue the lost fairies, he replied with a grin. And for every fairy saved, we'll dance a special move. What moves? Lily asked, eyes wide. Maybe we could spin and leap? Like magical soldiers fighting off the dark clouds, he suggested, surprising himself with the flow of ideas. Yes. And we can practice every day right in the living room. It'll be our secret battlefield. They shared a laugh, and Billy felt lighter with every note they took and each silly idea they bounced around. It was as if their laughter was pulling him further into a light-filled world where anything was possible. As the afternoon waned and the daylight dimmed, they began to experiment with dance moves. Billy stumbled through each step hesitantly, but Lily danced boldly, her small feet tapping and twirling with joy. Her enthusiasm was a storm, and Billy was just trying to hold on, grateful for the ride. Let us pretend to soar, she shouted, repeatedly launching herself into the air, arms wide. Billy followed her lead, slightly less graceful but fully committed. Each time they hit the floor in a heap of giggles, he felt fear retreat. Isn't this what leading a life full of joy meant? Amid the laughter, his mind meandered to the situation waiting outside. The phone, the calls, reminders of reality, were they worth the fleeting moments spent here? Dad? He looked at Lily, still swirling in a dance of her own. Her innocence was a balm on his often frayed nerves. Yeah, kiddo? Do you think we can really do this? Her eyes were steady, filled with hope. Their secret battlefield felt like it could hold all the dreams of the world, yet a shadow of doubt fluttered in his heart. "We can do anything together." She grinned wider, determination radiating from her. But would it be enough? The shimmering image of a performance with actual costumes and a cheering crowd at the center of this journey bubbled to the surface. What would happen when they opened their hearts wider and welcomed real, outside opinions? Would they invite judgment into their joyous realm? "Tomorrow, we'll start looking for costumes," Billy declared, unable to suppress the excitement bubbling within him. "Yay! I can't wait!" Lily leaped again, her laughter ringing like a bell. Just as the moment swelled with promise, Billy's phone buzzed again, this time with a message. It was a reminder of the upcoming deadline he had neglected. His heart sank, uncertainty creeping back in. Would this endeavor bring them together or tear them apart? "Dad?" Lily tugged at his hand, sensing his hesitation. Billy felt the weight of his other life pressing down, but something larger resided in the room now. With deep resolve, he leaned forward, meeting Lily's expectant gaze. "Let us dance." The commitment hung between them, a silent vow of courage against the world. What if their performance could be a declaration of everything they stood for? As they stepped back into their imaginative universe, he wondered, could chasing this dream really change everything, or would it only lead to more chaos? Time swung gently onward, cradling the delicate glow of the afternoon. The space around Billy and Lily pulsed with creativity, the remnants of laughter still dancing in the air. As they sculpted their magical forest on paper, their minds raced with ideas, each line drawn a promise of an adventure yet to unfold. "Okay, let us map out our forest," Billy suggested, diving into the whimsical spirit of the moment. He drew tall trees with crooked trunks, each adorned with sparkling leaves. Lily watched wide-eyed, her cheeks flushed with enthusiasm. "And a river! A shimmering one where the fairies have their tea parties," she exclaimed, her voice bubbling over with excitement. "Absolutely," he replied, his heart swelling. After years of stressful weekends spent in the shadow of work obligations, this felt like bliss. It was as if they were unfurling from a cocoon, shedding the burdens of adulthood with every smile exchanged. As dusk began to cast a warm glow through the kitchen window, their imaginations soared. They took turns inventing characters: brave knights, mischievous fairies, and wise old trees that whispered secrets of the world. Each character brought with them a story, a connection, and a freedom neither of them anticipated. "Dad, can my fairy be called Glitterwing?" Lily giggled, scribbling furiously. "Of course. And he'll need a feathered cape and a wand made of starlight," Billy added, growing increasingly animated. He could hardly believe how quickly he had shed his earlier worries. What struck him most was the shift. He could feel the invisible thread connecting their laughter to the magic in the room. But lurking in the corners of his heart, the dread of reality lingered, every unbidden phone buzz a reminder that life outside was still waiting. Then, just as they dreamt their way further into their forest, a soft knock at the door broke the spell. "Dad, who is it?" Lily's face turned serious for a moment, her eyes mirroring his sudden trepidation. "It's probably just the neighbors," Billy replied, forcing a smile. "Let us finish this map and then we'll check." With each stroke of the crayon, they put the knocking aside, but the beats of his heart quickened. Each thump echoed in his ears, a mix of excitement and anxiety. Who could be coming at this hour? Billy pushed the thoughts back and focused on Lily. The glee in her eyes made everything else seem far away. "We're almost done. What else do we need?" he prompted, keeping his voice buoyant. Lily paused, shifting her weight as she flicked her crayon thoughtfully against her chin. "A treasure! Something special that the knight has to find." "Treasure it is," he beamed, scribbling down the idea. "What kind of treasure? It can't just be gold, it has to be something meaningful. Maybe a heart-shaped gem? That symbolizes love," she declared with fervor. "Perfect," Billy cheered. He couldn't help but admire her creative instinct. "It will remind everyone that the most valuable things are the moments we share." Just then, the knock came again, more insistent this time. Sweat beaded on his forehead. "Hold that thought," he said, unable to resist any longer. He headed to the door, where a moment's hesitation enveloped him. What if the world outside shattered the delicate moment they had built through laughter and imagination? He opened the door, and a familiar face stood there. It was his neighbor, Karen, a friendly woman with an armful of baked goods. "Hey, Bill. Just thought you might want some cookies," she said, a smile lighting up her face. Billy forced a smile back, but the sweet scent of cookies felt distant. "Thanks, Karen," he replied, taking the plate. "Your daughter sounds like she's having a great time in there," she added, looking over his shoulder with genuine warmth. He nodded, but the joy felt marred. He didn't want to step away from their magic, but there it was, a sliver of reality creeping back in. "Okay, I should get back." He turned back toward the kitchen, and Lily's innocent anticipation met his gaze. The sparkle in her eye drew him back to the enchanting world they had built, but the burden of his choices lingered. As he stepped inside, he gathered courage, feeling that precious bond reigniting. Maybe they could find a way to make this dream more than just a performance. "All right, kiddo. Let us wrap up this magical forest and see about that treasure." But lingering doubts swirled in his mind, and as they resumed their adventure, he couldn't shake the feeling that something larger loomed over them. Would their innocent dream withstand the weight of the outside world? Lily's laughter echoed off the walls, wrapping around him like a gentle blanket. "Do you want to know what happens next, Dad?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with anticipation as she bounced on her toes. Billy caught himself smiling again, but uncertainty gnawed at him. What if the story was already written in a way he couldn't control? "Let us keep building that magical world," he said, but deep inside, a different question swirled. If they ventured too far from the comforts of the familiar, could they truly conquer the chaos that awaited? The next morning dawned bright and full of promise. Billy awoke with a newfound determination. He looked around his home, his heart swelling with a sense of purpose he hadn't felt in years. Today was going to be different. Today, he would fight not just for his daughter's dreams but for their shared future. As he tiptoed into the living room, he found Lily sprawled across her art supplies, a vision of creativity. "Good morning, superstar," he exclaimed, ruffling her hair playfully. Her eyes fluttered open, and she grinned wide, a smile reflecting pure joy. "Did you remember our secret fairy forest?" she asked, her excitement bubbling over. "Of course. But first," he said, taking a deep breath, "I need to make sure you know why we're doing this." Lily squinted, her brow furrowing cutely. "Why, Dad?" "Because it reminds us of what's most important," he replied, crouching down beside her. "It's about joy. It's about family. And it's about showing everyone that nothing, not even paralysis, can stop us from living our lives fully." She nodded slowly, absorbing her father's words, and he felt a surge of pride. Together, they designed costumes that transformed them into the enchanting characters who would soon dance for their neighbors. Billy stitched together a makeshift knight's outfit, while Lily crafted her fairy ensemble, complete with sparkles and glitter. Each tap of the glue stick and snip of scissors felt like a rebellion against the stress that had once ruled their lives. "Let us take our magical forest to the community park today. We can practice there," Billy suggested, his own heart racing with excitement. "Really?" "Yes," Lily squealed, bouncing up and down. As they gathered their supplies, Billy's phone buzzed incessantly on the kitchen counter. He sighed, his mind briefly retreating into the familiar pit of dread. But he quickly shook it off, ignoring the beckoning ringtone and focusing on the glittering glimmers of laughter that emerged from Lily. That phone call could wait. At the park, the sunlight hugged them like an old friend, and the vast space felt like a blank canvas. Billy watched Lily spin on her wheels, her laughter echoing through the trees. Together, they practiced their routine, sword and sparkles in hand, weaving their dreams into a palpable form of magic. "Dance with me, Dad!" She laughed, and he joined in, twirling awkwardly at first, but gradually loosening up. The laughter between them cascaded, infusing the air with a warmth that pushed away any lingering shadows of doubt. "See? Just let go!" she called, radiating joy, while sparkling light dust surrounded them. As they danced, nearby neighbors began to take notice, drawn in by the infectious energy. A mother with her 2 kids paused, clapping in rhythm. Soon, others joined, cheering and laughing. Billy felt a surge of exhilaration. This was their performance, their moment. In that unfolding reality, he saw not just Lily but the person he hoped to be, a father committed to his daughter's happiness, ready to let go of the burdens of his old life. "Remember the treasure?" Lily shouted, a flicker of excitement in her eyes. "Let us show them what it is." Billy's heart soared as they finished their routine, a dance vibrant with listeners gathering, applause ringing around them like music. The park transformed into a stage, and all thoughts of work vanished. "Dad! The treasure!" Lily spun back, excitement lighting up her face like the sun. He smiled, got down on one knee, and opened a small bag containing the heart-shaped gem they had designed. Just like that, a wave of love and pride encompassed him. "Ladies and gentlemen," he declared to the crowd that had assembled, "we present the heart of joy, a treasure symbolizing love and connection. Because that is what matters most." And as the excited cheers surged, Billy felt the weight of a tremendous burden lifted. He looked at Lily, who beamed with pride, and knew that from this point forward, their lives would move together in harmony. "We will always have this," he promised her, sealing that moment in time. "No distractions. Just you. And me." Everyone erupted into applause. It was a heartfelt performance not just of dance, but of transformation. The uncertainty that had shadowed their lives was now a mere footnote in their shared story. As the day turned to dusk, he looked at his phone. No missed calls lingered on the screen, as if the chaos of the world accepted that today belonged to them. Together, they joined hands, stepping forward as partners in a dance of life filled with hope and joy. Their laughter echoed in the twilight, weaving dreams into a connection that would remain unbreakable, and he knew that moving forward, love wouldn't just be heard. It would be felt in every step, every dance, and every twirling moment shared between them. So, if you've ever wondered how love can shine in the face of adversity, here it is. And remember, if you want more inspiring stories, you need to subscribe right now. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and comment your feelings about this ending. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, let us celebrate love and joy.